Descendants of the Herero and Nama people of Namibia say German colonial troops were responsible for more than 100,000 deaths. It's thought the slaughter took place between 1904 and 1908, when Namibia was a German colony after the two groups rebelled against German rule. Some historians view it as the 20th century's first genocide. A 1985 United Nations report also said the massacre of Hereros qualified as a genocide. The plaintiffs on Thursday sued under a 1789 United States law often invoked in human rights cases.
In addition to the horrific murder of countless people, there was an expropriation of a lot of the land, cattle, and the goods of the people as well. And under international law, anytime that you have an expropriation on this scale without compensation, that continues to be a violation of international law. So acknowledgement and recognition is an important first step. However, participation of the indigenous peoples and their recognized leaders themselves in negotiations and ultimately a settlement which provides just compensation are the missing steps at this point.
Germany, however, has publicly said any settlement will not include reparations to victims.
We understand that they say it is an apology without reparations. Apology without reparations. If that is what the German government intends to do, we would appeal to the representatives of the German people assembled in the Bundestag to seriously reject that position of the executive branch of the German government, because it would seriously constitute a phenomenal insult to the intelligence, not only of Namibians and the descendants of the victim communities, but to Africans in general, and in fact to humanity.
US representatives of the German government are yet to comment on the case. Clementine Logan, CGTN.
Let's get more insights now on this story from CGTN's Angelo Coppola. He joins us live from Johannesburg. Angelo, of course, this group of Namibians is pursuing this lawsuit. They've described what happened in the 1900s as a genocide. But essentially, what do we really know about what happened? And of course, it seems that so little about this incident has been heard.
Well, the bottom line here is over that 4-year period, it's estimated that some 100,000 people in those two affected communities were slaughtered. There are many published reports where victims were subject to harsh conditions in concentration camps. Several thousand bodies or parts of bodies, including skulls, were sent back to Germany for scientific experiments. Many people were driven off their land and in fact out of the country. The German general in charge was one Lothar von Trotha. And he cut his teeth in Tanzania, where he's instrumental in suppression of a revolt of the Wahehe people. He was then sent to China, where he helped suppress the Boxer Rebellion in 1900. And also, when he got into Namibia, which was then Southwest Africa, what he did is he poisoned all the wells, the drinking wells, and any survivors that moved away from those wells were then subsequently shot or chased out of the country. As to why there hasn't been much around the case, well, perhaps it's a case of an inconvenient truth. But it appears now that there are changes within segments of the German society, and they're realizing that they may have certain obligations to those two groups. The Herero and the Nama people have been campaigning for years for justice and reparations, but up until this lawsuit, it's been to no avail.
An inconvenient truth that, of course, this group of Namibians will not let it rest for now. As far as you know, Angelo, what is the expected outcome of this case for Namibia, and could it have wider implications for the region?
Well, the plaintiffs do want to be involved in those negotiations, as we heard just now. They want reparations, obviously, and many want their land returned to them. Many of those farms that were taken away from them were occupied by German settlers, and their descendants today still run those farms. The plaintiffs are expecting to be treated like the descendants of the Jewish people who were killed by the Nazis during World War II. They receive reparations, and if agreement is reached, it will bring to closure a festering sore in Namibia in what was the first genocide of the 20th century. But it's American law, so negotiations of this nature can take several years to be concluded, unless, of course, the German government acknowledges the rights of the Herero and the Nama, which they haven't done yet. So we wait. Hopefully the German government will see the light and settlement can be reached. In terms of the rest of the region, we'll have to wait and see what happens here, because it might affect what happens in Tanzania and the people that were repressed there. Lindy?
Thank you so much, Angela Coppola, on the Namibian lawsuit against Germany. Thank you.